These are going to be the 15th national general elections that India has held, and they come at the end of 10 years of government by a Congress-dominated coalition. 10 years which have seen a kind of quite up and down economic path, in the sense that for much of that time India has averaged growth rates of around 8% or so on. But in recent years, that's really dipped down, and at the moment, the current growth rate is sort of under 5%. So you've seen a period where we've had high growth rates in the earlier part of this government, but now there's been a downturn. It's also been a period when there have been strong inflationary pressures in the economy. The cost of living has gone up for ordinary people, and this has become a real political issue. It's also been a period where government has been involved, and members of the government have been involved in a number of very high-profile corruption scandals. So all of these things have really hit the reputation of the current government. In a period of pretty remarkable social peace in terms of relationships between the different many minorities that make up India. It's been a period when there's been quite a lot of interesting social legislation that has been pushed through by this government. So it's been a mixed record, but certainly from the point of view of the electorate, there's a sense that they want a change of government. Participation rates are remarkably high in Indian elections. I mean, this has been one of the remarkable features, that although India is mainly a poor country, largely non-literate, yet turnouts have been very high, normally 60 to 65% in national elections. The party that looks on a roll at the moment is the BJP. They have identified a leader of the party, Narendra Modi. He's a new kind of leader in Indian national politics. He comes from having ruled a state, the state of Gujarat, for the last 12 years. I think he's a compelling speaker, and he's drawn a lot of support, a lot of interest in that respect. But he does have a serious problem of his earlier reputation as Chief Minister of Gujarat.
Modi has, to a great extent, captured the imagination of a group which he himself describes as the neo-middle class, an aspirant middle class, an increasingly urban middle class, who have greater aspirations for inclusion in India's growth story. However, we can't forget Modi's record on or origins in a much more divisive form of Hindu nationalist politics. He was Chief Minister in Gujarat in the early 2000s when anti-Muslim violence killed upwards of 1,000 people.
I suspect that a lot of the attention in the media coverage, as well as political attention, both here in Whitehall as well as in Washington, will be focused on the extent to which these governments think that Mr. Modi will be able to A, lead his party into victory in the elections, and B, his ability to negotiate a coalition if he is to be elected to power.
Current opinion polls suggest that the BJP and the BJP-led alliance, the NDA, may breach the 200-seat mark in the Indian Parliament. 272 is the magic figure that any alliance has to reach in order to have a majority of seats in Parliament. And it looks like the NDA will struggle to reach that mark, and that's not surprising. So we're likely to see a phase of coalition negotiations after the elections in which Narendra Modi and the BJP BJP will need to sign up allies among India's regional parties. Which regional parties those will be depends really on how the election contest plays out in different states.
The outcome of the elections will have an important effect on Indian foreign policy itself. And I think that may play out at two levels. In the first level, there is the question of whether we're going to have a government which is a strong coalition which is capable of seeing through 5 years of its term in office, or are we going to see a weaker coalition which might be sort of susceptible to various kinds of pulls and pressures, and which may be much more focused inwards rather than focusing on India's sort of external engagements.
There is a real question about the future of the Congress party. At the moment, according to polls, they're really likely to do very badly, perhaps the worst they've ever done since India's independence, which may take them down to under 100 seats in Parliament. Again, hard to call that prediction very, very decisively at this stage, but certainly the polls are indicating that it's going to be a defeat for the Congress party.